Now, at first, I thought that the European press is a little bit unhinged when it comes to America. After J.D. Vance went to the European Union and did the speech saying that you guys don't have our values, you guys don't respect free speech, guys don't respect the same rights that we do. The press went overboard with the rhetoric, especially when the US aid was caught. Like, that's when you actually see articles after articles tarnishing the Americans. Like, if you read the press here, it feels as, the Americans sent a group of necromancers to resurrect Hitler. They also used another team of necromancers to resurrect Mussolini. They used Democrat science in order to get two men to have a child, and that is Donald Trump, right? And now, like, fascism looms over America. It's a land of misery, and the deportations and everything bad under the sun is happening in the US. And that's pretty much like the vibe that I get from reading the press. But then you look at some of the politicians and they seem to be in on the fear-mongering as well. I don't know if it's coordinated or not, but it's very interesting that in the same week, both Germany and Britain issued travel warnings to the US. Yeah, like the United States apparently now is not a safe place to travel. Like, you should be aware, you should be concerned. And now Denmark does it too. Now, to be fair, the Germans, like, I already covered them. They're basically like, oh, be aware if you travel to US and you commit a crime, oh, they will punish you. Oh, the inhumanity, right? Like, that was their rhetoric. But Denmark actually has, like, a little one that's more akin to reality, a little bit more common sense. However, it's still stupid because they could just figure it out by phoning the embassy and talking with the Trump administration and asking them, okay, if we have like a transgender person that's a Denmark citizen and they travel to the United States and on their ID, like there's a discrepancy, do you guys detain them? Do you guys allow them to go through? Because we need to tell our people. Like, they can do the common sense thing, but because they decide to do it in public in order to fearmonger and do panic porn, I genuinely think that, it's part of the creation of a moral panic against the Americans. The reason for it is geopolitical. Again, this is just my take, it's what I think. But I believe that the European Union, especially Germany and France, they've been desperately wanting a European army. And the reason for it is that the European Union is still not an actual state because it lacks an army. You can't have a state without a constitution and an army. And so, like, these are the next steps that they want. And they're profiting off of the conflict in Ukraine by saying, oh, look, J.D. Vance is saying that we don't align on values. Well, maybe he's got a point. Like, we do think that the Americans are immoral. We don't like the way they do things. And because they're untrustworthy, like, now they want to pull out of Ukraine, now they're talking about backing up. We need to create our own army so that we can impose our will and so that we can be at the table in negotiations, so on and so forth. And in order for that to happen, they need public approval. And the problem is that most of the people here, especially in Eastern Europe, we actually love America. Like, we don't have an issue, we don't have a bone to pick with the United States. And so, like, they constantly have to, fearmonger, do these articles, and now they're issuing travel warnings for going in the United States. It's like, look how different they are from us. Like, here we respect transgender rights. In America, they don't. And if you go there, you may get persecuted. So let's see what they're actually saying. As the article mentioned, that Germany has also updated its travel advisory. And Denmark on Friday issued a new travel advisory for the United States that warns transgender and non-binary people, I forgot about those, but they're also a very important group, to contact the US Embassy before departure. If you have the gender X in your passport, or if you have changed gender, you are advised to contact the US Embassy before you travel for information about what applies to you. Now here's my question, though. Because this actually does have a valid point, right? Like, if a country decided to do the documentation differently than Denmark is doing, then they need to find a way for tourism to still happen, right? Like, there's a lot of business people and tourists from Denmark that want to travel to the United States. The United States does want to receive them. So, like, how do we get with the bureaucracy? But it should be the Danish government that contacts the US and they have a conversation. I personally think that nothing would happen. Why? Because as long as your government is issued by a country that your other nation has relationships with, it's fine. Like, it's one thing when you're dealing with a person from the United States that has a different type of document that's not consistent with what the current legislation is. But if you're talking about a foreigner who has a passport issued by a different state, by a different government, then I find it extremely unlikely that they're going to get persecuted at the airport. Like, there is no way that the people from the United States don't know what's going on. Like their country has a relationship with the European Union. They have a relationship with Denmark. They know how passports are issued in Denmark. They haven't raised any concerns. And so I don't think that there's going to be any detainment. In fact, like, there's also another question that I have. What happens in America with people that already have IDs that were issued during the Democrat era? So, like, you have a person that transitions, right? And they have their gender on their ID. Is the ID invalid? I don't think it's invalid. I think, like, they won't be able to renew it in the current way it is with the new legislation unless something changes. Like, unless a new president comes in with a different executive order. But I think, like, if that passport or ID was issued by an American official, then it still holds merit. Anyway, right, so apparently, according to this, they're concerned about the consequences that LGBT people would experience. And Denmark Association told Danish radio that it had contacted the Danish Foreign Ministry to modify its travel advisory to the United States. Well, it's interesting you haven't contacted them to talk with the United States. Like, actually have a discussion with them and go like, okay, well, what happens with our passports? Like, are they still valid or not? We are worried that people could be stopped at the airport and refused entry. Well, isn't this like something that the US government can notify you if it's going to happen or not? Since his return to the White House, Trump has targeted the trans community. He has signed executive orders banning trans athletes from women's sports. US military restricted gender transition procedure for people under the age of 19. According to the Danish Foreign Ministry, no Danes have been turned back at the US border since the Trump administration came in power. Oh my goodness. See, I haven't even read so far up until this point, and even I predicted that it's a nothing burger. Why? Because there are these things called international rules. The international rules are followed by most countries because it actually streamlines processes. Like, countries don't want to violate the international rules, because then it would create chaos at an international level. It would have economic consequences. The ministry updated its travel advice, saying that the final decision on whether a person can enter the US or not lies with the US border authorities. Yeah, but they're not unreasonable people. They're not like unhinged mental asylum seekers, you know? Like, sure, like, I guess if you go there and you're being a cheeky little shit and you antagonize them, they can fuck with you. But they have like so many ways to fuck with you that this one is particularly irrelevant. And this is true for any nation around the world. Yeah, like if you have a guy in a uniform who has some authority and you're being a cheeky little shit next to him, he's still a human being. He's still a bundle of emotions, and one of them may snap. And then they can decide to use the full force of the law just to mess with you with various technicalities, various bullshits. But like, that's not the standard. That's not how things go. Like, the idea that you can go into the United States and just because you have a Danish passport, you're going to get turned back. I haven't seen a single evidence of it. Now what's interesting is that when right-wingers make such a claim, immediately there will be, well, there's no evidence. There's no evidence. It's a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy theory. When the left, or you know, when people that are part of the establishment make these types of conspiracy theories, that if you're a trans person and you go into the United States, you can get persecuted at the border because of your ID discrepancy, no one calls them out, right? Like, there's no fact checkers, there's no like Snopes writing article like, so far there's no evidence of a single trans person getting. And it's true, right? Like, since Trump took office, there's probably millions of people that have gone through the United States airport. Some of them must be trans. None of them seem to have been persecuted by the evil, what do you have, like TFA agents, or what the fuck do you call them? TSA, like what three letters do you have in order to justify the existence of some other bureaucrats that pat people down, right? Like none of them seem to have persecuted the tourists or the people that went in there legally. So why the panic porn? Germany foreign minister said that it was monitoring whether there had been a change in U.S. immigration policy after 3 nationals have been detained. 2 of the 3 cases have been resolved with the affected nationals returning to Germany, while the last one was handled with the help of the consulate. Well, no information given as to what happened there. Like, why were they detained? Did their passport expired? Were they smuggling goods? Were they wanted in the United States? Had they committed a crime? Were they supporting Hamas? Like, we don't know, right? And so, like, I gotta assume that these were LGBT folk. Why? Because I'm reading this in an article about LGBT people. But this seems like a different event. This is something that concerns Germany, and Germany hasn't brought up the LGBT issue. It's only Denmark. Do you see how they're doing it? Like, if you're skim reading this, you know, if you're just, like, very concerned about what's happening and you're reading this and you're generally thinking, like, wow, yeah, America is now a hellhole. Holy shit, look at the crackdowns of human rights that they're doing. They're interfering with the international free movement of people. No, they're just applying the law. Anyway, right, I'm actually curious about those 3 cases in Germany. If anyone knows, let me know. But the hysteria seems to be going. I genuinely think they're trying to create a moral panic about Americans in Europe. They used to do that during the first Trump administration. If you guys remember, like, Germany used to have a picture on their cover magazine with Donald Trump beheading the Statue of Liberty, like a very grotesque image. And that was, like, the only thing that they did. But, like, yeah, they seem to not like the Trump administration, but they do seem to like what the US provides for the European Union, which is social media, internet, Starlink, soldiers, guns, weapons, you know, like, that's good. Those are good. But values and morals, not so much. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.